responsibility.
Finishing this fight.
Alright, hello everyone, and welcome into the Lore Council. This is Cade, and I am joined today with Keith.
Greetings.
Greetings, Earthlings, indeed. Very apropos, considering today we are going back to 1994 Japan, and we are reviewing Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla, directed by Kensho Yamashita.
Yeah, and this is one of those movies where the title of the movie is the thing. This whole movie is basically just Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla. That's the movie. That's the plot.
Yeah, essentially.
That's what happens.
Yeah, more or less. I guess for a pretty quick plot synopsis, so due to Biollante going into space at the end of her movie and Mothra going into space at the end of their movie, they bring Godzilla cells into space where a black hole creates Space Godzilla. And
yeah, like they explain it in the movie as Godzilla's G cells getting sucked into a black hole and then combining with tons of different energies and stuff, and then it just mutates into Godzilla crystal monster.
Yeah, and he comes down to Earth. He kidnaps baby Godzilla, who looks like a plush toy. And yeah, that's essentially like the impetus to this movie. Like, he shows up, captures baby Godzilla, and Big G wants to get him back. We are also introduced to Mogura, who is
He's inexplicably drawn to Earth.
Yeah, well,
Because Godzilla.
birds of a feather or something, right?
No.
Birds of a G cell.
Yet spoil my final take on this movie. I did not like it. I was not amused.
Yeah, I think it's how should I put this? As a Godzilla movie, it's not great. The plot isn't really there. There's no big, good themes besides once you start like deep digging. And essentially it is an excuse to have a big kaiju fight at the end of Godzilla and Mogura fighting Space Godzilla. And it is a really fun fight. Like, I think it's really good. The special effects, as always, I think are for sure up to snuff. And the set of, I believe it's Yokohama, all encased in like the crystals with like where the final fight takes place. I think it looks really cool. Like, the set is really cool.
Yeah, like, definitely the special effects are mostly up to par, for like a 1994 low-budget, Japanese movie. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It still kind of looks like an 80s movie, but it's fine.
Yeah,
but,
it's...
the writing and, like, the plot is really what hurts this movie.
Yeah.
Definitely Godzilla just looks on point. He looks good. Right, all the set design, the creature design, all that stuff looks great. I think what fails with the movie is the writing, and then the directing and editing of the movie, which is different. So the directing is like what the movie looks like, and then the editing is like how long is each scene, how do you pace it, And I think the pacing was not very good. Like, I don't know. Like, I just found myself getting bored just watching these like long shots of each thing. And all the shots are very, static, boring shots. It's just, you see the one thing and there's no like zooming in or the camera moving around. It's always just, it's in this one spot. Or you just get like a close up of Godzilla or Space Godzilla, but then you don't really have the camera like rotating around a lot, right? It's always just kind of a static, wide shot or something like that, or a close-up shot of the monsters.
Yeah, and I mean, while we do get those, and some of those aren't great, I do think some of the wide shots that show the monsters later, like while they're fighting, I think are really good, and I think that's where these 80s and 90s Godzilla movies really shine, is they aren't afraid to like get that big wide shot and show the two titular creatures fighting. I think is a really big point for me, because I think a lot with American kaiju movies like this, they get a lot of close-ups. Like, they always close up, like, say when Godzilla punches something, they always do, like, a close-up on that. But it's like, sometimes you want to just have that far-away perspective and be able to watch these two kaiju, kind of, punch each other, shoot their beam lasers at each other and stuff like that. And so I think it is good to get those perspectives. But yeah, I think especially when it comes to like the human cast, who definitely, I think this is the weakest human cast we've had in this era of Godzilla. I think to have those wide shots and kind of more still static shots, I really don't think works for them. They should really reserve those for the kaiju.
They do not have much to do, those characters. Like,
no,
wow.
I mean, there's like
it's super boring, not compelling at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a little subplot where the Yakuza abduct Mickey Saiza because they want to use Godzilla mind control. And that's like rather quickly resolved. SpaceGodzilla.
That happened so fast, like I didn't even really realize that happened.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing is like it's such a quick little aside. Like the movie's like an hour and a half long, basically.
It's like an hour and 40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and like just the fact that like that's thrown in there and resolved in what feels like 10 minutes.
No, yeah, it's really fast. The highlight of the sequence is when one of the mob guys turns over the psychic lady's bed and like uses that as a shield. And she's like strapped into the bed, so she's using her as like a human shield. And then she uses her powers to levitate up the bed so that one of the guys can shoot under her and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just kind of funny.
Yeah,
it's a little goofy there.
Yeah, Basically, from there, SpaceGodzilla turns
mid.
Yeah, definitely mid.
Pretty mid.
Yeah, I think the scenes of SpaceGodzilla kind of terraforming parts of Tokyo. Wherever it is, I think are pretty cool.
Yeah, the highlight of the movie is definitely that final sequence. It's kind of just one long fight scene with SpaceGodzilla and Godzilla and the Mogura thing.
Mogura
definitely looks good. I just kind of wished it was maybe like the set was maybe a little bit more populated with like destructible things. Like maybe I don't know, showing more destruction. I guess like it didn't feel like there was enough. Like, it seems like every time they showed either SpaceGodzilla or Godzilla going through a city, they showed, like, a very far-away shot and then, like, tons of people, like, running in the foreground, but you don't see people getting hurt or anything like that. It's all just kind of like, no one gets hurt in this movie. There's no, like... Okay, well, like, one guy gets hurt at the end, but, it seems like nobody gets hurt or dies in the movie because it's, it doesn't really show that.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a way that they made it so that way they could actually preserve their budget, because these movies weren't shot on a big budget for the time. So having, I'm pretty sure as this era, the Heisei era went along, I believe their budgets basically just kept like down. So
that explains it.
Yeah, in order to have like, the cool special effects, they kind of had to save all that up, and, kind of towards the end of this era, they kind of start skimping on, like, the sets, the special effects in that way. So I think having the final fight take place in, like, this big crystal fortress thing makes it so there's less destructibles, and basically they can...
Less civilian casualties.
Yeah, less civilian casualties, less buildings to blow up, and it just makes it, cheaper to kind of shoot.
Yeah.
But it is, at the same time, it is a refreshing kind of change of scenery from, the typical two monsters fighting in Tokyo and sports at 10.
I mean, it looks cool, but there's just not really a lot going on with the fight, because it's just Godzilla and SpaceGodzilla, throwing up lasers at each other, and then Mogura flies in and he's shooting lasers, and kind of boring.
It's definitely
I want monsters like punching each other in the face and stuff,
Yeah, well, we will get more of that in the next movie. Do not worry.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But, pretty short review from us on this one. Not a ton happens. I do personally... I think my nostalgia goggles were on when I recently rewatched this. SpaceGodzilla I really love as a Godzilla villain. He appears in a lot of other Godzilla media. kind of whenever there's an antagonist needed.
Well, he definitely filled that role in this movie.
Yes, he did.
But yeah, it kind of sucked though, because like he has no motivation. He's just we need a monster. Oh, SpaceGodzilla comes in from space and he kidnaps Godzilla, baby Godzilla somehow, and then he's fighting in the city and he gets blown up. Yeah, I will say when Godzilla blows up SpaceGodzilla, it is pretty hype. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's hard for Godzilla beating another monster like not to be hype.
Yeah, but then they had to ruin it because they had that classic. I think they've done this scene like 3 times now, where they have all the characters looking at Godzilla or whatever, and they're like, he's not really a monster after all, or it's nature or something. I can't even remember what they said because it was just,
Well, in this one, basically, they're like, yeah, if we don't stop sending pollution into space, another space Godzilla will show up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, as if like space pollution is like our biggest concern right now.
Yeah, they tacked on a little thing that makes no sense. They're like, "Oh, Space Godzilla, is he a villain or not?" And this one lady's like, "No, he's a monster."
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Godzilla saved us at least. Like, yeah. And then final shot of the movie is basically the psychic lady walking down the beach with a guy who's apparently her boyfriend or something because they're holding hands, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know they had a relationship." Okay, all right, or whatever. And then Godzilla, goes, "Give me the Beach Boys and free my soul."
Right. Destroys Tokyo, walks into the ocean, repeat.
Yep. Credits were good though.
Yeah.
I was so glad when the credits came. I was like, "Oh, thank God it's over." You get some nice shot of Godzilla walking in the ocean, and then Mothra flying around in the credits, flying around space.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we get a cameo from the Pixie Chicks.
Yeah.
Thank God they're only in like 2 minutes of the movie or whatever.
Yeah.
They show there's a shot.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh yeah, they just show up earlier basically to warn everyone like, "Hey, Space Godzilla's going to show up."
Yeah.
And that's it. Don't see him again.
And I think there's a shot of Mothra flying through space or something, or it might have been Space Godzilla.
Yeah, no, there's definitely parts where Space Godzilla is flying in space.
Okay, well, I remember the music being similar to the Mothra theme, like it was them singing, I think, and I thought it was pretty good. I was like, "Oh, that's nice. I like that."
Masura, yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't that, but it was their similar kind of singing to that.
We could
it was
only
some space
wish.
theme.
But yeah, Mothra in space.
The fight scenes were good. They weren't terrible. It's just all the stuff in between was not very good. And then there's maybe only 10 or 15 minutes of fight. 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes of fights in the whole movie. It's not like amazing stuff because... there's a part where Space Godzilla like levitates Godzilla in the air and then just tosses him into a building. That was really cool.
Yeah, well, because...
again, that's like a 5-second thing.
Yeah, originally King Ghidorah was supposed to do that because obviously his beam attack thing is called gravity beams. But obviously they don't do anything with gravity, so that idea ended up getting reused for Space Godzilla.
Oh. But yeah, I guess I kind of liked his powers. Like he causes EMP stuff the whole movie.
Yeah, that's cool. I think just like his crystals that he grows, like they tap into like the Earth's core's energy. So essentially, it's one of those things where Godzilla saves the planet. Otherwise, it would get the old sucked dry treatment from Space Godzilla.
Yeah, his design was definitely on point. I wasn't like a big fan of his roar. It seemed just kind of like a lamer version of Godzilla's roar.
Yeah, it's an interesting roar, but I think his like physical design I think is really really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely, and he just looks really like scary and like a more like villainous looking Godzilla.
Yeah, and I think that really helps to set him up as a big
again, no motivation.
Yeah,
no motivation.
Well, besides that, he wants to drain the Earth's core for energy.
But yeah, you can't really I don't know, you need a villain. I don't know, man. You can't really hate him or anything because it's I don't know. Weird, man.
You gotta hate him because he's from space.
And then, I didn't even really care much about Godzilla in this movie. I was like, eh. Don't care.
Yeah, he's kind of just he's just the boy. He's the big G.
Yeah, like he's the guy. He's here to stop the other guy from fucking shit up.
Yeah. And I mean, you kind of touched on it earlier, but I think yeah, Godzilla's design by this point in this era, like they've definitely nailed it. Like this is like his like iconic look essentially.
Yeah, it looks super good whenever they do close-up shots of him, and he looks all like he's all wet, and his face has like animatronics in it. I think it's a puppet most of the time when they're doing the close-up shots, but it looks good.
No, it's actually it's actually the Godzilla suit. They just have animatronics in it, so he can turn his head, his eyes can move, and his mouth can go up and down.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I thought the eyes looked really good for this one. Like they looked better or different.
Yeah, this is actually my favorite. I think in this last couple movies, I think is the same Godzilla suit. But this is my like basically overall favorite Godzilla suit.
What, this particular movie?
Yeah, like I think it's this one and the next one share a suit, and I just think for whatever reason I just think it's the best looking to me.
Yeah, it looks fine. I just wish it was in a more interesting Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Because there's no cool like moral like message to it. It's not a good plot. There's there's not any cool or horrifying like Godzilla destruction. Missing like I didn't think that I would miss Return of Godzilla. And I bet if I rewatched it, they'd probably say it had like better sets or something, better miniatures.
Sure.
You get to see like the military fighting against Godzilla. In this one, the military is basically just compressed into Mogura, which is it looks good and it looks cool and all that. I don't know. Wasn't doing it for me. It's like, oh, it's SpaceGodzilla 3.0.
Yeah, essentially.
But it's also kind of like the Super X from Return of Godzilla.
Yeah, it's Mogura is like my least favorite like Godzilla mech thing.
And it like splits up and it has a head that has a drill on it, and then it drills into the ground just to come up under SpaceGodzilla, but then doesn't really do anything.
Pretty much.
It's like, what? Okay. And it just combines back into the ultimate form or whatever. The pilot guys, I thought I was going to like the characters. When they first meet up, you kind of see this one guy and he's like smoking a cigarette or whatever, and they're kind of, they seem pretty serious. And I like watching this subbed after watching like the last two movies dubbed was nice. Because the performance of the actors just really comes through, and you really need that. But the writing just wasn't there. So they're all meeting up, and I was like, oh, maybe I can take this movie seriously. And then peeks his little head over the mountainside? It's freaking baby Godzilla. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, but he's so cute.
He's dumb, and and does Godzilla even get him back at the end of the movie?
Yes.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
Okay. Still, what happened to him? He was got sucked inside
Space
Godzilla.
He was basically stuck in a crystal the whole time.
Oh yeah. Oh, I did like when SpaceGodzilla's crystals got blown up. I was like, ooh, that's like satisfying things that I just didn't know I wanted.
Yeah.
I always wanted to see those crystals get blown up.
It was meant to be. But yeah.
The world's biggest explosion when Godzilla just goes like beast mode and blows him up.
Yeah.
There's not really a reason given for why he beats him. It's like, yeah, he just beats him.
Because he gets
I guess basically helps to take out SpaceGodzilla.
Yeah, and then Godzilla gets like the supercharged atomic breath again, like we saw in Mechagodzilla, and he yolks him. Yeah, overall, I would.
The most character that any of the characters have is the one guy that wanted to kill. He really wanted to kill Godzilla earlier in the movie, and then when Godzilla is going to attack SpaceGodzilla, he like diverts course to attack Godzilla. He's like, "No, I want to kill Godzilla because I don't know, I have a grudge against him." And they have to he gets knocked out in one punch by one of the other crewmates, in cartoon style, and then later on he's just like, "Oh no, SpaceGodzilla is our enemy now because reasons."
Because he's gonna blow up the planet.
Yeah, oh wait, no, I'm not retarded. Okay.
Yeah.
But Yeah, man. Like, this is not. I would not want to rewatch this one.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I kind of only go back to because I have a lot of nostalgia for SpaceGodzilla and I like SpaceGodzilla. But yeah, other than that, I would give this one a solid like 6.3 out of 10.
Oof. Yeah, as someone who didn't watch this as a kid, and I don't have any nostalgia for this, and this is my first time watching it. Pretty disappointed. Did not like it. I paid $4 to watch it in HD, and I feel like it was a waste of money.
All right.
I was like, oof.
All right. Well, if you have enjoyed this or
and I would not recommend it watching it.
Oh yeah, I think we got that. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this or any other content that we put out on the Lore Council channel, drop a like on this video and help us grow, and subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed it as well.
Yes, do the thing.
Do the things. We also have a Discord. It's growing, and it's gone. So the description, that will be down in the description for you guys to join that. And until we see you for the next and final installment of the Heisei Godzilla reviews, this has been Cade. We will see you later.
Sorry to be a negative Nelly, but if you disagree, leave a comment and tell me why you love SpaceGodzilla so freaking much. And later.